And I'm calling the parking committee meeting to agenda, or I'm, I'm working on it. Okay, calling to order. Are there any announcements? Seeing none, we can move on to comment, suggestions, petitions by residents in attendance regarding items that are not on the agenda. Hi, what would you like to say?
Darrell Cook, South Walnut Street. Does anybody know how many parking spaces were eliminated on South High Street with the PennDOT project? Thank you.
Okay, moving on to reports. Wait.
Hi, everybody.
We do.
My name is Angela, and I live on the 300 block of South Adams. And I was here before about the parking. This time they're trying to take my handicap parking spot away because my son owns the house. Yes, there's a lien on it. Some years it's been on there. And the sewage bill and the taxes, which are under $3,000. Long story short, what does my handicap have to do with that? And when I called up here and asked them why I was declined, I turned in everything that I had that they asked for. This is my new parking placard for 2025. This is my new one. I turned in my registration, my placard card that I carry in my wallet. I carry all that, everything that they've asked me to do, I've done it. And I cannot walk around the block. I don't know if anybody is familiar with the parking on Adams Street and how bad it is. And no disrespect, but whoever designed it, they didn't take in mind when they put those units down there on the 200 block. They didn't take into consideration of the parking that it was going to affect. The people have company that have those houses, townhomes up there. They park on our block when they have company. We don't have a place to park. When I come home, there was one time I couldn't get a parking spot because somebody took my handicap parking spot. They were not handicapped. I cannot walk. I got hit by an elevator. I had surgery on my back. So I can't walk that far. And I pulled up some stuff, and when I talked to Tina, she said it changed 6 months ago. And it says changes to Westchester, PA handicap parking rules related to liens, back taxes, or sewage within the last 7 months. Based on the information available, there's no recent changes. But I was told 6 months ago. I'm all about being fair. I quit complaining about the parking. I don't have a problem with moving my car. I don't have a problem. And the only reason why I moved it today is because I came up here to defend myself. I'm the only person on that 300 block that has a handicap parking placard, the only one. And it's right in front of my house, the only one. And when I called up here and I spoke to Tina, the saddest part about it is until it happens to somebody else, nobody cares. Until it happens to you, then it's woe me. That's how I feel. And then not only that, but where I come from in Pittsburgh, they started street cleaning on April the 1st to November the 1st. So from those times, yes, you should move your car. It's every week. You should move your car. They do it 365 days a year. There's days that they don't come. They want to write us a ticket. Can we write them a ticket for not doing their job? Can we write them a ticket? I mean, those are fair questions. And I'm not trying to come up here with an attitude. I'm just like so stressed out. Not only do I have back problems, I have health problems. I got asthma. I have a lot going on, and everybody else does too. And it's not woe me. I just want to be fair. I move my car, and because I'm here is the only reason why I'm in it. And the days that I don't move it, I will eat that $20 ticket. I don't even care about it. But when it was snowing outside, January the 8th, where y'all want us to park it? They told me I could go to the garage. So you want me to go from Adams Street down here to go up here to park? How am I supposed to get back, catch an Uber and then come back and get my car? And when I sent the ticket in, I told them, I said, I will welcome y'all to come and move my car and bring it back. I welcome that. You don't know what a struggle it is for this. I don't walk nowhere. I get in my car and that's it. When I go shopping, I get in my car and order online. They put it in my car. My grandkids and my son carry the groceries in or what have you. And I think that, and when I went on Pennsylvania's website for parking and handicap, it has nothing to do with it. They cannot take it away. They said, wait a minute. They said on their PennDOT, when I called up there, when I went on the website, it says one thing has not to do with the other, and they cannot take my handicap spot because of those things. What if that's the case? Then everybody in here that owns a home in front of your house, we own that, and we can do whatever we want with it. If that's what you're saying, we own it. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with the parking or if you've had to deal with it. And I heard the young lady back here talking about the parking over on Rosedale. The parking is horrible. Then there was a young lady that lived on Walnut Street and came and parked over on Adams Street because there's no parking. And this says individuals who are eligible for accessible parking must meet one of more of the following criteria: cannot walk 200 feet without stopping to rest. It's killing me to stand right now. It's killing me. Concrete just kills me. I don't need no walker or anything, but I do have a scooter. If I go to the mall or something, I do have a scooter. And it says, although the sign won't be directly be removed for unpaid continued non-payment of property taxes or sewer bills could lead to property being sold, tax sale, or enforcement action. This will ultimately impact the resident. We're not trying to sell the house. He's going to get it paid off, but who has $80,000 laying around or whatever it is? I don't even know what it is, but it's been on there for some years. And that's where we reside at. So yes, I feel some kind of way. I just want to cry right now because it doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't. It just doesn't. It doesn't. And then when they did it, they didn't even spray paint the curb. I did that. I spray painted my own curb. They didn't do it. They just put the sign up. Now you want to take it from me. So if I go out, I'm not going to have a parking space when I come back. So that means I got to walk around the corner or drive my car in front of the house and have my son drive it around the corner.
I appreciate that this is very emotional for you. And I
Yes, it
appreciate that you came out tonight. We are not going to solve this. This is because you've mentioned 2 or 3 different issues.
The issue that I came here for today, I was just throwing everything else. And the issue that I'm here for today is about my handicap spot. That's what I'm here for today.
Okay. Have you reached out to Miss?
I've talked to them. They said because it's changed and this is what they do. And when I went on y'all's website and went under,
Reach out to Ramsey Rainier.
Sorry, I don't know the specifics of this, but I know that we have not made any requests to remove any handicap signs, so I'm not sure.
I got an email. You're Ramsey?
Yes.
We spoke before.
Yes.
I went on the website. I gave y'all everything. I have my registration with me, my car insurance, my little wallet card that I carry, and I have my placard. I just got my new one. I have everything. They said it was denied because of the lien on the house.
Okay, let me look at this, but we're not gonna remove it. I don't have any plan. We have not put in any requests to remove any handicap signs, but I will find your contact information tomorrow and contact.
That's
you.
all I need. Thank you.
Yes,
I'm free to go.
yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, God.
Okay.
Thank you. It's, yes, that would be me.
All right.
And this is the new placard and it's permanent.
Okay.
But when you come, you have to have receipts. And I'm coming correct.
Good. Keep coming correct. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So I can leave now. Thank you.
All right.
You don't know how scared I was.
We're going to move on to the reports, garage management report.
Good evening, Chris Hankins, Colonial Parking. I'll run through the financial performance of the garages in July quickly. Total revenue for July was $229,567, which was
somehow
ahead
quite-
of budget and ahead of the same month in 2024. The operating expenses were $50,849, a little bit above budget, a little bit below prior month, and well below the same month in 2024. The net operating income was $178,718, again, exceeding budget and exceeding prior year. Year to date, total revenues are at $1,551,411. Again, exceeding budget and exceeding prior year. The net operating income at $1,204,739, again, exceeds budget and well exceeds the prior year. There were 933 contract parkers billed in July, which is 10 more than there were in June, and a couple, about 230 less than the same period the prior year. Transient activity was strong with a total average transient revenue per day of $3,734. A little bit down from June, but significantly ahead of July of 2024. And the average tickets per day reflect that revenue, with 1,011 tickets per day in July of this year versus 794 the same month in the prior year. Are there any questions on the financial report? Just a couple quick other notes. I think last month, Norman was here and he talked about wrapping up placing the parameters on the daytime parkers. And so we are at the end of that road. So I just wanted to update you there and let you know where that stands. And then one other item of interest, the agreement with Hotel Indigo for parking in excess of their 55 spaces was signed by all the parties. And so we will be billing them for one day in July for about 10 or 11 spaces over. So that's in process and ongoing. Any questions?
Thank you. That's important. Yes.
I do have a question. Mr. Hankin,
Yes, sir.
in a given month, how many reports of damage do we get in either parking garage? You guys never report on any people getting their cars broken into or damage, mirrors taken off or scratches and stuff like that. Is that something that comes through your office?
So we would hear about that. We don't, in terms of damage to vehicles, like somebody's vehicle being broken into or somebody getting into an accident. It happens from time to time. I wouldn't say it happens a lot or regularly. We do have other things, gate arms, tend to get hit. And we had a sign at the Chestnut Street garage that was hit by a tall vehicle going through the garage. So things like that certainly happen. I'm sure we could like count them up and
I'm just curious on a
Yeah.
given month, how many people send a claim into either Ramsey or yourself that their car was damaged by somebody inside the garage? That's all.
sure.
Yeah.
That's something that, we could go 3 months and not have a single one, and then have a month where 2 people come to us and say, somebody backed into my car. Yeah,
Thank you. That's it.
Okay.
Thank you.
thanks.
Thank you very much. I'm not going to move on. Please come up. I skipped someone for the public comment portion, which was my mistake.
Hello, my name is Marjorie Cooley-Dugal Hoffman. I live on Hannum Avenue since 1976, so I've been here a while. I have a concern. There are 3 concerns with the parking. One, the lot across from Hannum there's no signage for handicap. There should be several of them in that lot across the street. So I don't see any, which is disturbing because St. Agnes is right up the street. So when there are people that are handicapped, including me now, so that makes a difference when you don't have that signage in the parking lot for handicap. Secondly, I know parking has always been an issue in the borough. That's nothing new. But when St. Agnes has funerals and weddings, people don't understand the direction of Hannum going up the hill. And so every Sunday, there are at least 2 to 3 cars that go down the hill, not up the hill, which means that I think it would be a good idea. It's a suggestion that we put some signs on the trees or in the lot somewhere saying it's one direction only. That is very dangerous. It really is. I mean, I don't think you realize it, but one day I drove out of my spot and a gentleman was coming down and I flashed him. He just kept right on going. It was just like, okay. So I think there will be an accident someday and it won't be pretty. And you've been advised publicly now. It is not a good thing. Also from New Street, North New, I think if there's a stop, but then they can't see us, so they just take off on that. That is a very dangerous intersection as well. I think you need to reevaluate where the stop sign should be and maybe a little further up. I don't know if that's part of parking as well. And then maybe two stops, I don't know. That's about it. But I know parking will always be an issue. That's nothing new. However, I think sometimes owners feel left out because I know that on Hannum, there are many renters now, and I have one vehicle. They have 2 to 3. And then they take space and I squeezed in. And I have called the police and they've been really good about it. One was this. We couldn't even measure, like it was like 12 inches. So I know that it's a problem, but I think, the suggestions are here for you to think about it. And perhaps something can be done, but I am really concerned about the cars going down the street. Can you imagine going to a funeral and having a head-on collision, or going to a wedding and having a head-on collision? That's really, or having children run across the street all the time. Not a good thing. But thank you for your time. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm glad you came. Yes.
Kyle Hudson, Westchester Chronicle. I have a question for all of the members on the parking committee. In the previous committee meeting, the communications committee, the chair mentioned that there were other times where the parking committee had been shut down due to public comment, people taking over public comment. Do you remember when that was? So I could look into that. The
meeting was not shut down. There were excessive repeated comments.
Do you know when it was? I mean, I would like I would just like to follow up with this and look into it.
I don't know the dates, but I can.
About like a couple months ago, was it last month?
No. the growers market, the church, they're like, I can tell you some subjects, but I can't tell you.
Well, I can go through the
the
agendas, but
dates.
growers market, what are the other ones?
The-
Last one was the people that wanted to convert a old printing place into a daycare. And what they did, they lined up at least 50 mothers and kids that each one came to the microphone. And I would say out of the 50, 40 of them didn't live in the borough, but they liked the daycare and they wanted the daycare to be expanded on West Market Street. But that the zoning, went against that, and now it's an apartment building. But that was a prime example. They were all the way out the door. And they were just people from Thornbury, Garnet Valley, Unionville. When someone has something passionate, that's when they say the same thing over and over and over and over again, and it takes it over.
And to that point, the woman who actually came to public comment first, she spoke for well over 7 minutes. Why didn't you shut that down?
Because I'm allowed to let it continue.
Okay. Thank you.
The chair has to say.
Yeah.
So if you don't live in the borough, until we accept an ordinance, Public Works, it has to, you have to abide by the residents only. So the chair has to say.
Real quickly, thank you. Margie Swart, West Goshen Township. Some of this you need to look at yourselves in the mirror and not
Madam
put,
Chair, point of order.
not put this on the residents. This is,
Can I interrupt you and explain from my opinion, because I am looking at myself in the mirror.
sure.
I'd appreciate it if you looked at me. I am not always the most confident person. I will sit here. I didn't start my timer on that first speaker, and I let her talk and talk and talk, and she's crying, and I am not going to cut her off because I know that's who I am. And I know that I let these meetings run on, and I'm not just impacting myself. I'm impacting the Public Works Committee that comes next. And that committee has people who have been sitting here all night waiting for their part in the process. And that is what I am speaking to.
Right. And I understand that. You hear me, my voice quivers, I get nervous. It's not easy. So trust me, I understand that. But at some point, if 50 people are lining up and they're saying the same thing, it's up to whoever's facilitating the meeting saying, okay, we hear you. If you have something new to say that hasn't already been said, please say it. But we have business to conduct, and if you're just repeating the same thing, and again, I go to many government meetings, not just in my own township of West Goshen, but other meetings, and it takes a strong chairperson of who's facilitating that meeting. So I know it's difficult on both sides, but when you're talking about 50 people, you
Madam
need
Chair.
to
Yes.
take charge. You
Move
need to be
on
leaders.
Talking about
Okay.
what she wants to talk about and has nothing to do with the borough.
Okay, let's move on to the director's report.
Hey, guys. I did add a couple more things that weren't on here, so I apologize. We are removing meters in the majority of the areas in town. Public Works is going to remove the housings and poles as they're available. And we are going to continue to look at the signage. I know there's been a lot of feedback on the Flowbird app. I have a few recommendations. I did talk to Kara from Hello Westchester to try and get the word out. I'll speak to Bill Ratu. But I do recommend, if you're going to use the Flowbird app in town, download it before you come into town, put your credit card and your cards in there so that you're ready to go. If it's not working, sometimes if you're left it open, swipe out and then swipe back in. Monica and I did just go to Bethlehem last week to learn about event parking for their music fest. And we did a tour of their garages and saw how the events were run. But I do think that there's some opportunity with our flash programs in the garages and in town that will require maybe additional apps. So I do think we might be recommending in the next couple of months, not to get rid of one, but to also consider adding Park Mobile. And so that might help people out. I know some people are just more comfortable with that. So just want to put that on the radar. We are also going to look in town, and now that we've got kiosks in, we'll look for some additional placements of kiosks. I know John O'Brien wants one on every block, on every side. I think that we can maybe start smaller. I mean, having 27 on Westchester campus, not often are they used, and especially with the coins. I mean, we rarely collect them. So I would recommend scaling back and maybe scaling up if needed in the future. And it's budget season, so we'll have, plans for 2026 based on customer feedback. Still working on the parking survey. We want to get that together so that we can roll that out at Restaurant Festival. I think Monica and I will plan on being at the table or having a table near Keith to annoy him and meet residents and talk about parking. You are all also welcome to sit there and talk about parking since you are well versed. We received the new handhelds. So we have 4 new handhelds for officers. We're going to work on rolling those out in the department, but perfect timing because I think a few of them are failing. We are working with Kristen and Robin to get the Chapter 4 update, hopefully on the September agenda. I know we have a lot of updates, just little loading zones or things that are missing. So you'll be excited to read all of that, I'm sure. We're still working on scheduling with the contractor for the bicentennial concrete ceiling. We just picked the color, and that hopefully will be done as soon as possible. I was hoping it would be done already. And then, I know Daryl mentioned the High Street project. I do feel like I could have done a much better job communicating that, but that was a PennDOT project, and I don't think I wasn't fully aware of the scope of what was being removed. So there were a number of parking spaces removed, but again, there was a public process and a public participation and engagement procedure that PennDOT went through. Unfortunately, it's PennDOT, and I don't have control. None of us have control over that. But I will say that I probably should have been communicating that more, and I really was not fully aware of the impact and the timeline of it. So I'm sorry for that. Any questions on that?
Can we talk about the app?
Yeah.
The Flow, it's the Flowbird app, correct?
Flowbird, yes.
Are we changing to another company?
We won't change, but Park Mobile actually bought Flowbird. So I think at some point one will take the other one, and yeah.
The swipe on, swipe off,
Mhm.
is that indicative of the problem with Flowbird?
I think that's a big problem of it. I think the other is that sometimes people don't have great cell service where they are. It might be a connectivity issue. And if they're trying to set up the app on the fly, they're probably already irritated that they have to download an app or do this. You can pay by text and you don't have to download anything, and you can just text and do that. There are kiosks. We will add please pay here signage to those so that they're easier to find. And I do think we'll work with BID on maybe some more information on wayfinding to these kiosks. But yeah, I think a lot of it is that.
To your point, the signs that
Mhm.
have the QR code on them,
Mhm.
and people try to scan the QR code. I think the signs are too high. I saw a young lady at the courthouse shimmying up a pole.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. She was shimmying up
Yeah.
a pole. She had to be 5 foot tall, and the sign on Worthington Street is probably 10 feet in the air.
Yep.
It was a unique thing.
Yeah.
I told her, go around the corner. There's a lower sign
Yeah.
around the corner.
Yeah.
But
And
she had to get to court.
the QR code is, the QR code is only to take you to the App Store to download the app. I want to be clear about that because I do know, and I think you had actually brought this up at another meeting, I don't want anyone to go to a QR code and give their money to anyone. So I think we will be updating signage, especially if we bring another app on. Bethlehem also had really great sign standards of placement and, you know, uniformity. And I think that's something that we need to consider. So yeah, I hear you. I've seen some and I'm like, yeah.
If we can get Park Mobile in there, I would be super pleased.
Yeah.
I got a different car and I was like, I'm just going to download this, and I couldn't make it work. And then like, I've had multiple
Yeah.
friends visit. Everybody knows Park Mobile. Nobody likes Flowbird. I don't care that one might be better, one might not. That's irrelevant. It's comfort level.
Yeah.
And people are more comfortable coming from Philadelphia and nearby areas with Park Mobile.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, they've merged. So I think it won't even be our decision soon. Budget wise, just really quickly, in July, ticket revenue was around 80,000. It was lower than June and much lower than May, but maybe, you know, people are paying. Posting revenue was up to $10,000, 10,711. You would notice that there was a lot of road work being done and blocks blocked off. Meter revenue was at 141, 153. I do hope that increases. We do have a new officer. We are working much more on the customer service side of things. And, you know, we're asking that officers take the time to show people how to use these things and not just go around ticketing. It's also a standard that they check the kiosk before they ticket in a lot. And if there are 10 people standing at a kiosk, leave and come back, or ask if anyone needs help. Don't stand there and ticket the 10 cars that aren't paid because they're waiting in line. Yes, permit revenue, you can see we're kind of, even though we've changed the permit season and there really isn't one, it's up in July because students are starting to come back. So we were up to $10,034. Monica, Tina, and Ro are really doing a good job of that. And we're also working with SmartGov so that for the student rentals, we're able to memorialize how many off-street parking spaces are in there and hopefully reduce the time it takes to approve student rental parking permits. And then Monica and I are going to work on getting the homeowner permits to be auto renewing, hopefully sooner than later. So that's on the horizon.
Ramsey, do you think we're going to make that budget number of 145 for the permits? Do you think we're going to make that budget number of 145?
For the permit revenue?
Yeah.
I will have to get back to you on that because, you know, I think I sent all of you the update and looking at the permit numbers that we've sold because we've done such a good job of not selling so many unregulated permits. We've actually reduced our numbers by about 1,000 residential parking permits. I should have put that in here. Actually,
I think you had it in last month. I saw it somewhere.
So
Yeah.
in 2022, we sold 4633 in permits. In 2023, we sold 4,200 permits. In 2024, we sold 3,490 permits. In 2025, so far, we've sold 1,379. I do, like August to September, we still get a huge bump with the student rentals. But guest passes from 2022, we sold 1,900. And in 2024, we sold 1,098. So we did really reduce because we're trying to protect the residential parking. Kind of didn't think about the impact that would have to the budget. But I'll have to get back to you on that. I'll know more next month. I don't think it's going to be super low, but I do think also as we start talking about budget that there might be a consideration to either look at, and this we can use the parking survey feedback, either maybe we raise the cost by $2 for permits and $2 for guest passes, or we look at staggering costs. You know, your first 2 cars are this, and then if you have a third car, you pay $50. And if you have a fourth, you pay $100, something like that, because there really is no reason not to get 6 parking permits. You know, I mean, there's a person over on Chestnut Street that I just parked on the meters. There's like 4 cars, nobody's driving them all, and costs $14 per car per year. And it's a loss where I'm sure there's somebody that could be parking near there, like the girl that comes to our meetings and wants more parking. And so I think that we should just consider like how responsible we're being as users.
Since you brought up Chestnut Street over there, the meters on behind St. Agnes on that row. Do you have a sense of how much we actually collect in those meters?
I have run the numbers a few times and Monica and I go back and forth because there are residents that are able to park on them, but it is also a nice transient area that I know a lot of people, St. Agnes and the courthouse, do park there. I don't have the numbers because I always say, oh, we should just get rid of these and make it residential, but then I waver because there are still people that utilize those spaces.
With the computer program,
Mhm.
we should be able to tell what those 25 meters generate in a given year.
Yeah,
It'd be good to look at, I think it'd be good to look at that. Maybe we could open that up to the residential parking over people on North New and stuff like that, so they can come around the bend. Because the cars are just parked there
Yeah.
and the meters are not being used.
yeah. I would probably recommend maybe finding a way to include residential, but not remove the transient ability, because I do think that side of town, the garages aren't super close to it. Lot 6 is really tied up with the county during the day. So I would say maybe do both, but allow New Street people that don't have parking spaces, maybe include them in that F area or change those areas so that there's more opportunity there. But yeah, I can pull those numbers.
So, and the Gay Street lot, to Ms. Hoffman's point, has the county ever asked for any handicapped spots to be designated in that lot?
No, but I do think overall we should be looking at ADA compliance in our lots and considering that, and maybe working with TAC on walkability once you leave the line, because I do think that that is important. I know we do a good job on our intersections, but I think it makes sense. I know like lot 10, I think the handicap spaces were at the bottom or are at the bottom. And I think we should just make sure we're doing our due diligence. County's never asked, but I don't think it's a bad idea to consider. Yeah.
Very good. Is there anything else? We good? Okay, moving on to old business. Motion to approve the July 2025 Parking Committee meeting minutes. Good.
I did update, it said agenda at the top still, so I did update it to say minutes. Sorry about that.
Special events fees. Well, I already discussed this once tonight, and I interjected parking thinking into the act thinking, and as they do overlap, but they are different. So in act committee, we're considering what will get reimbursement, but in parking committee, I feel that we need to consider for public understanding what events warrant the additional fee. Also, I have been hanging out with too many people from St. Agnes, and they're super mad about the concept of the special events all day. I'm still sticking with it. I don't mind being yelled at, but let's talk.
Are we still debating what's an event and what's not an event?
Yes.
An event from a parking perspective is all encompassing. It's an event. So whether it's a borough event or a chamber event or, Unite for Her event or, Purple Ribbon event, it's an event. And if you're coming into Westchester, you're going to pay an event fee to park. I mean, I think we're
I like-
overcomplicating this.
I like that, but we aren't including the Gay Street closure as an event because it's ongoing, right?
And maybe that's the differentiator, right? Right? There's a 1-day event or a 2-day event, like the market, the Chris Kringle market. But then there's, Westchester is closed from Memorial Day to Labor Day downtown. We want you to come, so we're not going to, but Can you tell I'm tired of talking about it?
Yeah, it's gonna just keep going.
As part of the policy, I stole this from some other municipality, but I did include a definition of a special event. And so it just says a parade, assembly, athletic event, street fair, art and craft show, carnival, soapbox, derby, rally, or other special event or activity that occurs in a public place or on a borough street, sidewalk, alley, or other street right of way, and that obstructs, delays, or interferes with the normal flow of pedestrian or vehicular traffic, or does not comply with traffic laws and controls, but excluding a block party. The term special event shall also include indoor or outdoor concerts, displays, fairs, and athletic events occurring on private property and designed to attract large crowds, that the event will interfere with normal traffic flow. And then I also included, based on feedback, all special events that take place within the town center district that require the use of the main thoroughfare will engage a $20 fee per car at all borough-owned garages and surface lots. The fee will begin at 8 a.m. the day of the event and will end at the time the event ends. This does not include the open air market, which is not considered a standard special event and is exempt from this requirement.
The open
I agree
offer.
with that. The ACT committee is just pushing it off to next month because they don't want to define anything except for the Christmas parade, which I completely understand where they're coming from because they're discussing reimbursement. I think that's not enough because we're already reimbursing more than just the Christmas parade, but you guys need to discuss that, I think, next week, and I'm not gonna be here. But I think for parking, we're clear. I don't think we need to drag this out.
I think the only other question that they wanted us to revisit was the Sunday events and the church parking.
Right.
And I would just say I would rather acquiesce on the time of the event starting. I do think this really only will affect like the chili cook-off and the Halloween parades moving to Sunday. I think restaurant festival is Saturday. I think everything else might be a Saturday. Chris Kindle, is that 2 days now?
Chris Kindle Market is the only Saturday. I
Saturday.
think.
Okay, so I think this is two events in a year, unless we have another 225 parade, which I think was also on a Sunday. But I would not, I don't think it's feasible for us to find a way to give like vouchers to churchgoers. So I think that would be the only thing we would have to modify the start time, but
What is, so we're how many events are on Sunday? Do we,
I think two.
there are 5 events total that we're really talking about. Oh, the other thing that ACT is going to do or ask is that John O'Brien look at the number of people who are coming to determine what qualifies as an event. And so I don't know if we wait to incorporate that as well. Because if we have the Clydesdales here, is that a special event? I mean, according to this, it is.
It is.
Very much so.
And
And
we-
I like that. But maybe a lot of people do come to that. Is Gritty coming to the corner a special event? But
I
how
would
do
say
we
if you're
determine that?
shutting down the street and requiring additional, if it's messing with,
They
See
normally
what's traffic.
shut the street down. and
yeah, if
nobody
it's
bring it-
pre-planned,
And
So-
they're there for 10 minutes, throw stuff around,
right?
and then they move on.
Like the Phillies bus
Yeah,
came.
then they
So
just-
we're not going to use population, we're going to use traffic control. If the traffic control is necessary, then that's plus all the other
That's
things.
what,
you
that's
said,
what my definition
Yeah.
says, but yeah, I mean,
which I
that's
like.
up to you. I don't,
Because ACT is worrying about reimbursement. It's a different conversation. So our real thing is what is shutting down streets, except for the weekend things. But
right.
okay, back to the Sunday thing. What time? We're gonna have you and Bernie have a conversation about what time works for parking, what time works for church. I go to a meeting on North High Street, so
So what we said was $20. I think we said we're going to start at 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning, right?
Mhm.
Maybe on Sundays we start at 12 or 1. On Sundays only. After that time, it's $20.
But who's still in, I was gonna say who's still in meeting, who's still Is everybody out of church by noon?
You're
That's a Bernie
parking before
question.
noon, or you're parking before 1. I mean, you're parking
Yeah,
before 1
I don't
o'clock.
know
I don't
the
know about a
answer to
1
that.
o'clock mass anywhere at St. Agnes or the other churches.
Most of the churches, the Protestant churches have a traditional service right around 9 in the morning. And then either 10 or 11, they have the contemporary. All right, so that's the Protestant churches. The Catholic Church starts at 6 in the morning.
Hmm.
And it goes every hour. A lot of sinners in St. Agnes. Every hour till 5 o'clock at night on Sunday. So, but they have their own parking lot, and it's not an issue for them. So
So if we start the special events on Sunday only at noon, what happens to the 10 people from St. Agnes who went in at 11?
now, there's a caveat to the Protestant side too. The Catholics really don't associate after mass. They leave. The Protestants, they go to the basement and they have coffee and cake and they talk about everybody down there. We talk about you coming in and out of church, but so the time,
Let's be
the
friendlier.
time is a little bit, could be flexible. You know,
Oh,
they
so-
could be down in the basement having coffee and
Oh, we're charging people as they're parking, not as they're leaving, right? So if you're going to an 11 o'clock service,
Yeah.
you're not going to be charged $20.
But if you're in a lot after noon, if it starts at noon and you don't move, then we would end up ticketing you for not paying. Because we're not going to be standing there collecting. Garages are different. And garages you could.
But do
I
we
don't
need
know
to
how you
ticket
could-
people after, like,
You
we're going
gotta-
to charge you $20 to come in and park.
And if you
right?
don't pay.
And if you're lingering at church because you're a sinner
I'll be
and you
honest.
need some extra time, are we really going around and ticketing cars in the lot
Otherwise, how do you know, like, I
that
mean,
they haven't paid?
yeah.
Yeah.
Can you like dispute it with a wafer later or something? Yeah.
No. Here's the problem.
Did you get stamps?
People have gotten conditioned that Saturday is free up until 5 o'clock. Sunday's all free.
Right.
So we have to, what we should probably do is put a big sign
Yep.
at each one of our flat lots.
I've already priced out sandwich
And
boards.
that way there are people going to church know
Yeah.
that the special event starts at 12. So as they're pulling in, they see it. And the person that's on Saturday night doing, rounds could put the signs out. So they're out at midnight. So
Yeah.
that way there we can do it.
Yeah. It's going to be, I think, 2. And I mean, we can always try. This isn't an ordinance, so we can always try it. And if it doesn't work and I get smited, we can start over and modify.
All the other days of the week, we're starting at 8 a.m. But Sunday, we're starting at noon with a lot of advertisement about what's happening.
Yep.
And we know what the events are because the streets are being shut down. And events outside of that area, we don't care. And so I was going to push this off, but I think that we don't need to. Yeah.
We're specific around the streets in town center being shut down, right? Not, okay.
Yes. Should have said that. Yes, thank you.
Okay, so Sundays at noon.
So let's try to move this forward. There's John. And good luck with that. Okay, moving on to new business, a motion to approve the Johnson Controls Service contract.
So, sorry. Yes, so we had, I don't even know if we still have, this is just for continuity of services at both garages. I think Chestnut Street already has a Johnson Controls contract, but Impark had entered into a contract with another company. I couldn't even get a copy of it. So this is just for consistency of fire extinguishers and like the fire safety system. they're not sprinklers, but there's smoke sensors, heat detectors, pull stations, standpipes, the fire department connection, and the dry chemical cartridges. So this would be to add Bicentennial. Bicentennial is $1,387.25, and Chestnut Street is $2,176.45. It is a 5-year contract. The total over the 5 years, it's $35.63 annually. It's $17,800 total for the 5 years. Do you have any? I mean, I did reach out to Colonial. They agreed it made sense as well.
Or maintenance contract that goes with it, did they come check it yearly?
That is part of
Okay.
that. Yeah, yeah.
I'm okay with this. Real good. Okay, 3-0.
Thanks.
A motion to approve sale of excess meters on municipal bid.
So we have a lot of meters. They are in a pile at Chestnut Street Garage, so please don't look at that when you park there.
Let's move that.
We have reached out to some municipalities to see if there's an opportunity to sell directly to them, but I would like to get these on municipal bid, see what the feedback is. I did see what was on there and what had been purchased. It looked like they were more the old dial things and they never got sold. I'm hoping that we can sell these. We are going to keep an inventory on hand along for the handicap meters because we are not pulling handicap meters. So we'll keep an inventory of about 50 here. And the batteries, which I feel like I've spent my life savings on. So we're going to keep those for upkeep as well, but just want to get that formalized. Cool.
Yes, please.
Thanks.
Is there any other business?
Sorry, I didn't have the opportunity. Oh, Lisa Kearns, West Biddle Street. On the director's report, we were talking about Flowbird. We all know I've never tried it myself. It's amazing. That was the word I was searching for. What I've been approached about is when they're told on the sign that like parking is $1, and then they go into the app and it's 25% more. It's $1.25. They're surprised by that. Who sets that fee and who gets that fee? All Flowbird?
It's the processing fee. So we reimburse, we get paid the money, and then the processing fee goes to the processing company. Yeah.
And what surprised me is if they got a slow server or something and they have to extend their time, they get charged that fee again. So every time which they're not happy about that either. So if there's anything we could do about that. The question I had then is, if I use a kiosk, can I get around that? If I do a text, can I get around that? No.
That's something, it's unfortunate. That is a huge cost associated with.
I mean, it can really increase when, when you're just adding in half an hour, but 50% of that is processing fee. So they're stuck.
Yeah, I think that there's an opportunity for us to look at if it's up to a certain amount, can you make it a flat rate, and then can it be percentage if it's.
Or even if you can extend without doing it. I don't know, but something to think about. Thank you. I'm not trying it because I ride my bicycle.
Everything that I've seen lately is everybody charges a processing fee. I had breakfast this morning and it was a processing fee, because I used a credit card at Cracker Barrel. I had to go get my grease on. But I mean, everybody charges a processing fee.
It's just can be such a big percentage
Yeah.
when you're talking 50
Yeah.
cent
American
charge
Express
and
is
a
the worst.
25%.
That's why a lot of people stopped taking American Express because they were so high.
But we don't give
Yeah.
them any choice. If you
No.
want to park in town,
Yeah.
you got to use
It's
your credit
our-
card. Yeah. Okay,
Same,
thank you.
Ms. Kearns, the same thing is when people come up to use to pay their bills at the counter, we have a processing fee because Clover charges us a processing fee to take their money. Correct, Ramsey? Yeah.
But if you pay by check, you don't have. I mean, I don't pay a fee because I don't do it online because there's a
Yeah.
processing fee.
So I don't know the answer to that if you pay by check. I don't know.
Yeah,
Depends, because we have 2 check readers, but in parking,
yeah.
end up paying telecheck for every check processor. Barb, if she processes it through the bank, there's.
Yeah.
Kyle Hudson, Westchester Chronicle, to follow up on that, see, because I paid for parking as well. I thought because I had an iPhone and I know that payments processed through an app on an iPhone, Apple takes a percentage off of those purchases. That's what I thought it was. Is that something that you are aware of is happening within the app for people who are using an iPhone versus are people who are using iPhones paying more money than people who are using Android phones?
I think it's a processing. It's not specific to the phone type.
Okay. Is there any other business? Seeing none, we can adjourn.